is going on, guys? It's Justin from the J Media, back with another video. So as you guys know, right now the whole coronavirus thing's going on, so a lot of car events been cancelled. So I decided while I'm at home, I might as well do some DIY mods. So I've been putting off this video for a while, but on my Acura RSX, which is my daily, you can see the headlights are pretty fogged up. So we're gonna attempt to get them looking as good as new again. So a few things that you need. First, you need some pattern tape and some trash bag. We're gonna mask it off, and then we're gonna be using the sandpaper method. So I know there's other methods like the headlight restoration kit. You can use the toothpaste, you can use bug spray. All those are temporary methods. The wet sand method would be a more permanent way, which is what we're doing today. So we're going to be starting off with some 400 grit sandpaper, followed by some 600 grit, and then finally some 2000 grit. So again, we will be wet sanding it down. I got some paper towels, microfiber towel, and then we'll be putting on some clear coat as well. You can pick this up from your local AutoZone, Home Depot, Lowe's. Are pretty cheap, less than 10 bucks for a bottle of clear coat. And also to finish it off with some carbonara wax, just to make sure that shine lasts for a while, since we'll be clear coating it. So I've actually done this video on my EK Civic, I think like 2 or 3 years back. So this is not the first time that I'm doing this. Like I said, Acura RSX needs some love since she is a daily. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be doing one side first so you guys can see exactly the dress difference. I'm going to start with the driver's side and let's get to doing it. Alright, so first step, we're going to get to wet sanding. So right now, as you can tell, it's pretty fogged up, pretty hazy. We're going to be starting off with a garden hose just to spray down with some water. We're going to start with the 400 grit sandpaper first. We're going to be spraying down with some water first and then using 400 grit sandpaper. Like I said, you want to make sure it's always wet, so constantly have a hose or a bucket of water spray down to make sure that's all wet. And then with the sandpaper, I'm going to start in circular motions first, and then once I'm done with a couple of passes of circular motion to cut through the clear coat here, I'm going to go ahead and do some straight passes. So let's get to doing that now. Alright, so I gave it a couple passes. So I started with some circular motions using my 400 grit sandpaper to wet sand it, constantly making sure I have water here so it's smooth. After a couple circular passes, I went ahead and did it in horizontal motion, just straight back and forth. So right now it's pretty smooth. So what I'm going to be doing next is using my 600 grit. So I'm done with 400 grit. I'm going to move on to 600 grit and do the same thing. And now that I'm done with 600 grit, I'm going to move on to 2000 grit and do the same process. Alright, so right now that I'm done with 2000 grit, you can see it's so much better, but we haven't actually had a clear coat yet. So let me just show you guys, just wet sanding 400, 600 and 2000 grit, and this is before it's done, so you can already see a big difference. So right now what we're going to be doing is we're going to mask it out. We're going to be using the painter's tape as well as trash bag, mask it out, and then I'm going to be drying it down first before applying that clear coat. Alright, so now that we already went ahead and masked it off, we're going to be using the clear coat. So we're going to be spraying 3 layers of clear coat. We want to make sure to spray it really thin and evenly, and we're going to spray it in lines, and then in between each coat we're going to give it some time to dry. It's been a couple minutes now, about 5-10 minutes. I can go ahead and spray on the second layer of clear coat. You can see it's pretty dry, so main thing you want to make sure is to spray on light even coats, just so the clear coat layer doesn't drip. So right now it's pretty dry. You can go ahead and spray on the second level of clear coat. Dry it up again, so let me go ahead and apply our third and final coat of clear coat on, and we're gonna leave it to dry, and then let me show you guys the difference between the restored headlight as well as the other one that's not restored. Let's look at the difference. So again, restored headlight and not restored, huge difference, practically day and night. So again, I used a wet sanding method, starting from 400 grit to 600 grit to 2000 grit, and then I went ahead and dried it and used clear coat. So pretty much everything I've used in this video you can get from your local AutoZone, Harbor Freight, Home Depot, Lowe's. So it's super easy, super cheap. For the sandpaper, doesn't matter what brand, but each one you can get it for less than $10. So total here I spent maybe, I think $40-50. It's probably like $7 for each of these, and then maybe another $7 for that, maybe $5 for painter's tape. So all in all, you're spending not much at all. For less than $40-50 you get a restored headlight. So I'm gonna let this side dry, and while that side dries, since I already showed you guys the difference, I'm gonna go ahead and work on this side, get it done, and then once I let it dry up, I'm gonna go ahead and do one last pass for 2000 grit sandpaper to gently wet sand it, followed by applying some carbonara wax on it just to make sure it stays on. Alright, so off camera I went ahead and did the passenger side. So same thing, 400 grit, 600 grit, and 2000 grit that I wet sand it with. So looking much better. You can feel it is really smooth right now. So right now what I'm gonna do is go ahead and mask it down the same way I did earlier with trash bags and painter's tape, and then go ahead and dry it off with a paper towel before I go ahead and clear coat it. Alright, and right now we have the passenger side all done. So 3 layers of clear coat. I'm gonna let it dry a little longer. For the driver's side, it's been sitting for a while now, so you can check. Seems like it's all dry. What we'll be doing is we're gonna go ahead and wet sand it down again with 2000 grit sandpaper real lightly. So sometimes you might see a little bit of orange peel from overspray. It's gonna do that real light, just one coat 2000 grit sandpaper wet sand, and then dry it, and then we're gonna go ahead and apply some carbonara wax. And you're gonna go ahead and use a microfiber towel, clean it down, and some carbonara wax. And just like that, we have it all waxed on. So this side is done for the driver's side. We're just gonna wait on passenger side to cure a little bit more, and then we're going to repeat the same steps, applying 2000 grit sandpaper to wet sand it down one last time, followed by carbonara wax. Alright, so there we have it, both headlights restored. So if you guys stay to the really end, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Again, you can see it's much clearer right now. Previously it was just really bad. Over time oxidation gets to it, especially with older cars. So don't forget to leave a thumbs up, hit the notification bell so you know when new videos are out, especially if you like these DIY videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.